It's experience, and you got to use your ear. You've got to know when there's enough going on. It depends what kind of track you're making. I think with song-based music, which is what I do, you always want to be hearing the song. That you don't want your focus taken away from the melody and the lyric. If your melody and lyric is strong enough, you shouldn't need to be piling on lots of things. If you're piling on lots of stuff, then the tracks, you know, your song isn't good enough. The song should always be at the forefront, and everything else should just be backing that up. But with dance-based stuff or non-song-based stuff, you know, you want to be just focusing on one or two things, you know, and not overcomplicate your track. I started at a music college, like point blank, and a very good friend of mine used to be the engineer for Soul to Soul, which was a very, you know, successful band in the 90s. And I was 22, I wasn't really doing that much, and he suggested I go for a job at a recording studio as a T-boy. So I went for an interview, and the lady said, you know, you're a nice kid and everything, but you have no experience in anything, any recording or the music business. So I went and did a course at a music college, and part of the course was to make a few tracks up. And it was actually me and Jules made a few songs, got a drum machine, played a bit of bass, bit of guitar, and we wrote a few songs, and we played them to a young A&R guy at, I think he was working at Big Life Records then. He's now the head of Universal. And he liked what we did, and he offered us a development deal. We were both singing. I didn't actually want to be a singer, and I had a real fear of going on stage. It just didn't really interest me, but I knew I wanted to get into production and programming. Back when I started making music, most producers had a programmer that they worked with. I started off as a programmer. I went to college, and then I did, I think, a one-year course, and then I started working as a programmer for another producer, and worked for him for about 6 or 7 years. And we worked with you know, we went all around the world. We went to LA and worked. We went to Jamaica. We worked on a Sly and Robbie album. We worked with Bjork. We worked with loads of different artists and worked on loads of different projects. And then I left him and went to work for another producer as part of his crew. So I wasn't a programmer. I was working as part of his crew, doing beats, doing backing tracks. He was Nena Cherry's husband, a guy called Cameron McVeigh. And then from that, as part of his crew, we went on to the Sugababes came in when they were like 14 years old. And they were looking for songs. Nobody could find, you know, they'd been with different producers. And it just worked with us as a crew. We had like 2 or 3 rooms going. We were all doing backing tracks. And I came up with Overload, which was their first single. I came up with the backing track and the melodies. And through him, we had a lot of success with the first Sugababes album. And then I left him and became a producer in my own right. So it was a long, slow, steady, you know, journey. I was about 23 when I went to college, and I think I was about 32, 33 when I became a producer in my own right. Most records that get made are team efforts. There are a few producers and writers that do everything themselves. But I would say a lot of the time it's a group effort, it's a team effort. So being socially adequate or socially apt is very important. It's very important to be able to get on with people, to not let your ego get in the way too much. But at the same time, you need to know what you want to do and have an opinion. But if you want to work with people, you have to let everybody put their ideas forward. All the great tracks that I've done and all the great projects I've been involved with, I've always been part of a team. I've either been, you know, not always been the boss, and if I've not been the boss, I've been working under people, and I've had to respect and know my place. And when I'm the boss, I have to know my place as well and take charge and you know, make sure I'm letting everybody get their point across, get their ideas across, and let everybody, you know, be part of the process. You've got to like the people you're working with as much as possible. But there's been some great albums made where people absolutely hate each other. And that works as well. There's no rules really. But for me, it's always been important to be, you know, an affable kind of person and get on with people and, you know, enjoy people's company. And, you know, as part of the fun of it, of making records, is hanging out with your friends and hanging out with people. The stuff that I've been successful with, it's been record companies coming to us and they're looking for hit records. I think your music is always yours, but it always also belongs to everybody. It's, you know, it's just music. It's like words; they don't belong to anybody. Chords don't belong to anybody. You know, so I've never felt that music that I made belongs to me. It's just part of, you know, the larger consciousness. You can make a track and send it out and hope that somebody connects with it and likes it and wants to find out who you are. Or if you can become established, record companies will come to you and say, we've got this artist and we want to develop this artist. This is the kind of thing we're going for. Generally, record companies will say they'll give you some kind of point of reference, which will be some other successful artist. You know, generally that's what they do. If you're new and starting out, you want to be making your tunes and putting them on the internet and using all the different mediums that are available to people nowadays. You've got MySpace, you've got YouTube, you've got all these amazing ways of getting your music, your product out into the world. So I would use those mediums. There's so many different ways of getting your music out there now. And I would use all those mediums, all of them, all at the same time. You can work with anyone, anywhere in the world now. I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. A college like Point Blank is a great place to network, great place to meet people. Gigs, going out and seeing young bands, and just meeting people. And going on MySpace and writing to people. I have people writing to me on MySpace. All those mediums are fantastic for meeting people, for networking. And just get out and about and put yourself out and have a voice and use it. Point Blank and those, they do great courses with great people that want to make music and want to find other people to make music with. I mean, that's half the beauty of making music. You can meet great people and have a really good time. Unfortunately, a lot of the big studios in London have shut down, because people can go out and spend £2,000 and make music. Moving from a small studio to a big studio is just the quality of the gear, quality of the equipment. You're going to be using better equipment and more up-to-date equipment and more cutting-edge equipment. mixed with the old school stuff that people still use. The way it usually works is, as a writer, you never sign anything away unless it's to a publishing company. You don't want to sign away any of the publishing, which is the writing. If they're paying you to take the track off your hands and paying you some money, as a producer, take the money. Yeah? I think that's fine. But don't give away any of your writing, any of your publishing, because that's really where the money is now in the music business. There's very little money in production anymore, but most of the money is in writing. If someone's willing to pay for your track, make sure you're getting a credit as a producer, and you're entitled, if you've written the whole of the backing track, you're entitled to anywhere between 30 and 50% of the publishing. If you're starting out, it's good to be flexible. If you've got an opportunity to get in with people, you don't want to get all, oh, I want this, that, and the other. You want to create relationships with people and have ongoing, positive working relationships with people. Some people say it's a third for the backing track, a third for the melody, and a third for the lyric. Some people just split it. However many people are involved with writing, that's the way I work. And, you know, that's an unknown kind of area. It's a grey area, but the standard is to split it amongst however many people wrote the song. There's tons and tons of people make the mistake of thinking that the track that they've made is going to be the only track they ever make, and they get a whole big ego about it, and then no one ever wants to work with them again. And you know, there's loads of times bands get together and they do really, really well, and then they split up because they want to do their own thing, and they never have any more success. So you have to be aware of that. I really love pop music. I listen to a lot of pop music, and I love hip hop as well, and a lot of soul and funk and a lot of black music. So a lot of my songs, I think, kind of combine those two genres. I listen to music that I would not even tell people I listen to. I really a lot of pop music. I just really love a good pop song, and I really love hip hop. So I've tried to put those two things together. I love all genres of music. I love rock music. I love all genres of music. I love a good song, a good tune. So, but pop music and hip hop are probably my two favorite genres of music. As a songwriter, it's good to have management. And management will hopefully set you up with other up-and-coming producers and artists. So management's a great way to go if you can find good management. If you can't find management, again, what I said to the gentleman, you got to go out and find it yourself. You got to make it happen yourself. You got to use networking sites. You got to go to gigs. You got to, you know, maybe go and do a songwriting course or a music production course or something like that, and go find people, and make it happen yourself. If you can't go down the management route, then you got to make it happen yourself. Basically, you've got to make it happen. You've got to go out and find those people. I'd get a demo CD together of your 3 best songs and send them off to every single management company and tell them that you're looking for management and that you think that you're going to come up with something amazing, and you know that you've got something to offer and that you're looking for management. My feeling is, if you pinched a little sentence and someone's asked for 85%, I would change the sentence. Basically, if they ask for 10%, then I think that would be, you know what I mean, that would be fair, if that's the right word. But I would change it, you know, and give them nothing and try and come up with something better. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a touchy subject, it's just a kind of legal matter. And, you know, I think if somebody's used your work, then you're entitled to benefit from that. Anything can be done live. A lot of artists work with playback, you know, or they work with a computer on stage. So anything can be done live. Anything. Anything can be, you know, reinvented live. If you're using a drum loop, a drummer can play that loop. You know, it's not going to sound the same, but they can, you know, they can do it. Or if you're using a sequenced bass line, you know, that can be triggered live on stage, you know, again with the technology that's available and the ease of use of technology. Anything can be played live. You know, there's loads of electronic bands that do great live shows. Most bands are making money from radio and television play, from live performance, from merchandising. They don't make that much money from record sales anyway. You still get good money from radio play. That's where most of the money is. Merchandising, from live, and making really good music.